All right, guys, we are officially back with the setup. It's been a long week, much thinking, many tournaments, many games. Hope all is well with you. And yeah, this we're gonna start off with an update video. Then we're gonna look at a game between Nesmedov and Tal, where Nesmedov out Tal, something like that. Basically, these two magicians verse each other, and we're gonna see what happens. The last game was crazy. This game is also crazy. I don't know, was Nesmedov Tal's Kryptonite? Kind of seems like it. I mean, the games are insane. I think Tal only beat him once. Don't quote me on that. But yes, I'm finally back from the tournament in Colombia. I have decided that I'm going to go back into competing. And when I'm all in on something, I'm all in on something. For example, got rid of my car, got rid of my lease, apartment, everything, so I could just travel and play in tournaments. So that is what the year is going to bring. My next tournament is going to be the Serbia Open. I'm going to be able to see my family, going to be able to play some chess. Life does not get better than that. So yeah, that is what we're doing. I don't want to make this too long of an intro, but also join the Discord. I'm going to post a link below. I want to host a tournament amongst my subscribers or viewers if you're not subscribed. I know I have a lot of viewers from India and the UK and of course obviously the US. So if you join the Discord, I'm gonna come up. I know I want it to be on a Saturday, Friday or Saturday. Time is gonna be determined. So join the Discord and we can discuss. But yeah, I can make a video on the tournament games hosted through Chess or chess.com. So join the Discord. All right, without further ado, I feel like that was a long intro, but we're back. I mean, I took a week off, so in perspective, is it really that long? All right, so this game, Nesmedov is white, Tal is black. We're going to get a Sicilian. What type of Sicilian we're going to get? An open, a con. Interesting. So we get an open Sicilian, we get a con. I actually like the con. I think I made a repertoire video on the con. It's very, very fun. There's a queen b8 line and there's a queen c7 line. The queen c7 line is more common. The queen b8 line, I know Prague plays it. I've looked at some of his games using it. I like both. I like chess. Okay, so we get knight c6. You could go knight f6 or knight c6 and we get bishop e3. Okay, but here you cannot go bishop c5. Do you know why bishop c5 would be a bad move? For two reasons. There's knight b5 and you're going to win the bishop and there's a lot of checks. Or there's knight takes e6 if you want to bail out and just win a pawn. That is also good. And that's the more common one. So don't fall for that. Whenever you have a knight on c6 and the vision is obscured to the bishop on c5, don't do that. So we get knight f6. The point of knight f6 is actually to stop queen g4 so that you can develop your bishop later on and not lose the g7 pawn. Knight f6 is a critical move, kind of like in the French, right? It's a Sicilian that's kind of like the French. Stop queen g4. So we get castles. Knight e5. He's rotating over his knights to g4. Typically, there's b5, bishop b7, aiming at the king. In the con, you really aim at the king. And depending on when white plays f4, things can go south or things could go north. I mean, too quick an f4 is not good against the con, especially with the bishop coming to c5. Bishop's on e3, so white's king is going to be safe. But let's see. Okay, we get h3, stopping g4. It's one of the calmer moves you'll see Nesmedov play. And we got b5. So he wants to get his bishop to b7. Don't think he's going to castle on the queen side. Actually, the nice thing about the con is that the king finds safety in the center of the board. This is a very safe pawn structure. And if the bishop gets to b7, you have no weaknesses. And when you have no weaknesses, chess is fun. Knight c4. Not that I know. Knight c4, and that aims at the bishop, which is also a fork, so don't lose a bishop and then lose a rook. So take, queen d3. Okay. Why is this queen trade good for white? Well, take, you attack e4, so this bishop can't really hone in on anything on this diagonal. You're going to rotate your knight over to e2 and claim the open c file, and you're just more developed. So this would be a good game for white, though of course black can hold. Oh, but okay, he plays d5, solidifying his queen in the center of the board. Nesmedov de-solidifies it, and we get this queen trade. You see the difference now. The difference is that the pawn on d3 is slightly weak, but it can't really be grabbed. And what is up his sleeve? Okay, b4 by Tal. Now the game's going to start becoming aggressive. We get knight e4 saving the knight, of course, but now taking on d5. Taking with the knight is better because you don't open up your king. That is, black doesn't. You also gain a tempo on the bishop. So life is good. Bishop to d2. Okay, aiming at b4, aiming at f4, but really just getting out of the way of the knight. Also clearing some space on the e-file. This game is going to get interesting very soon. Nesmedov claims the open file. Tal plays bishop a6, looking at the weakness, which is understandable. But look at this. Look at this activity above all. So rook f to e1. You might be saying, why can the bishop not just take on d3? And I mean, it could, but then we're going to get f5. And then you're like, okay, I don't understand. Why can't he just take? Well, knight f6, double check, cannot be blocked, and checkmate. So there's some poison in the position. That's what that means. A two-move checkmate can be found. Okay, g6. Tal's like, no. You're not playing f5. Nesmedov is like, no. I'm playing f5. That's a lot of no's. But you see, the point is that if takes, you could take. And again, if takes, that's a lot of takes. Still checkmate. King stuck in the center for a little too long. And, I mean, we don't need to go over this one because it's just a move quicker than mate. Same mate. So we get bishop to g7 developing, aiming at this knight. We get a pawn to f6. That move is excellent. You see, if bishop takes f6, knight takes. You get knight takes, pawn takes, rook takes, king f7. And why is white better? Well, white is better because he aims at the bishop. He aims at the rook. His pieces are going to come to life, and you're going to win a piece back. And then you're going to be up a pawn, I believe. So, yeah, with no weaknesses. So we don't get bishop takes. We get knight takes. Okay, knight d6 check, forcing the king to move. Where's the king going to move? King e7. Kind of has to go there. Knight takes. Ridiculous. He's literally, like, it's like Tal doesn't have the chance to become Tal. And Nesmedov is like, hold the phone. King to f7. I wanted to say something else, but it didn't come to my mind. Rook to c7 check. Brings the king back. And then knight takes. Look, so you give up a piece, but look at black. I mean, look at this rook. Is that a rook? Doesn't look like a rook to me. All of black's pieces are uncoordinated. All of white's pieces, vice versa, are coordinated. But the game is still in the balance because at the end of the day, black is up a piece. Okay, knight to e8, the best move, aiming at the rook on c7, protecting the bishop on g7. And we just get rook here, guarding d3. Bishop to f6, stepping out of the game. What did Tal miss? Well, he missed rook f1. Not so clear why this is so bad for black, but basically it's because none of his pieces can move. And if none of your pieces can move, you're probably going to lose the game. So he plays the best move, knight to g7, but now Nesmedov picks back up his material. And again, this king is trapped on the 8th. I mean, you're set up for a ladder mate, even though this rook is here. So, I mean, Tal's obviously not going to get ladder mated, right? So, bishop b5, rook c7. Okay, he's trying to gain some space, maybe get a rook trade, maybe have some space for the king, even though the king can't get to h6. Unclear. King moves, bishop check. At this point, you really got to give up the rook for the bishop and then just resign the game. Instead, we get king e8, rook d6. He brings the rook back. Okay, he aims at the bishop. What's happening? King up, aiming at the rook, and rook b6. Two rooks aiming at that bishop now. Bishop to... I mean, this is disgusting. This is absolutely disgusting. You're threatening everything. This bishop is a monster. This bishop is useless. So we get rook f8, aiming at the bishop. Check, of course. We get another check. Unfortunately, no ladder mate. Fortunate for Tal. But then bishop g5. Threatening checkmate in one move. So we get check, a spite check, and then bishop to b8. You're threatening to win this. You're threatening to checkmate them. After bishop to b1, rook h6, and Tal resigns because there's just no way to stop ladder mate. I mean, what is he going to do? Is he going to go rook f8? Well, then rook e6 is mate in 1. So, quite an amazing game, right? Rook h6, if he cuts off the escape, then there's no escape to this mate. So, I don't know. Nesmedov was just a monster. I can't believe he wasn't a GM. I wonder if Tal ever, I wonder if they were friends. Or if they ever, studied. I don't know. I might research that. Very interesting game, though. Now, I forgot to mention, if you're still watching the video, we're going to go over one of my games, one of my favorite games from the tournament that I just had. It is a 99% accuracy game played by me. And I was white, and it was one of my most accurate games ever, I would say. So give me a second. Well, I need to get better at how OBS works and such. So you could click off, but this is an amazing game, so I'm going to show it. All right. We get a King's Gambit, of course. This is in the rapid portion. 99% accuracy. Bishop c5. Basically, the point of this one is to stop white from castling. It's a good line. Now, here, if they go knight c6, you go knight to a4. I love playing this position. Now, you're free to castle, and it's very, very easy. But the more correct line is knight f6, because that ties my knight down to e4. So, good move. I go bishop c4, just going for development. h3, a line, but d3 is better. I didn't want to deal with this knight g4 stuff because I haven't studied it. And immediately he blundered. Knight h5. Do you know why this is a blunder? Well, takes on f7. Oh, let me add the bar. You can see this sheer accuracy. All right. So bishop takes f7. King takes, knight g5. One of those tactics. He should really go king g6 here, but he doesn't, at which point I would go f5, and then the game would be interesting. See, the bar doesn't know what's happening. But basically, king takes and d4, and I have a bunch of threats. So he goes back, takes the bait, and then I'm just in a winning position. But how to convert? Okay, knight d4. He's aiming at a fork, but then queen g7. My threat is bigger than his threat, so he needs to respond to my threat. Then I create another threat that's bigger than his threat, and so he needs to respond to my threat. And he does that with bishop b6. So basically the threat was like boom, boom, knight c7, and he needs to give up his queen, and then I win the game if I'm not an idiot or a moron. So maybe. Okay, queen takes. You look at chess. If you take this guy, you get checkmated. You literally just get checkmated. Isn't that insane? Chess is wild. So luckily I did not do that. I did queen takes h7, sacrifice the rook. Now, okay, he's going on a king march. His only move is king d7, queen e6, knight e7, right? He's in a box. He really has to give up the queen, but he doesn't. He goes king b5. Now it's just a matter of checkmating him, of course, as always. So a4, prying everything open, right? So my queen can get to a2. Okay, he goes king b4. Now here I was like, do I go to check and then get my queen trapped and then lose the game? I actually don't know how bad it is. Very bad. Glad I didn't do that. I found the best move, queen a2. This is one of I'm very proud of this move because I mean you're looking for checks, you're looking for king traps and everything. I spent 2 minutes and 20 seconds, quick math, and found queen a2. Basically he's in an unstoppable mating box. Right here, check. If here, that's mate in 1. If here, b4 and checkmate. So that's what I had calculated. So he goes knight b. No, he goes c5 so far. I go d4, right? And if takes, that is a mate in 1. And if takes, this is also a mate in 2. So he goes knight b3, stopping bishop d2. Now I bail out with my knight, giving a check, forcing the king away, and then I snap off the knight. He's very low on time here, but it's just checkmate. Bishop d2, king a6, queen c4, check, and mate with a pawn. So I was very happy with this game. Very happy to be competing again. Hope you guys joined the Discord. Thank you as always for watching. And I will be consistent again right now. Have a great day.